Ah, listen to that. 100 years of tradition.
So you found this band, did you, boss?
I said 100 years, Parish. But my great-grandfather was in it, played bass drum.
What did you do?
Look at that. Teamwork, discipline.
Come on, everybody, keep it together. Put your feet there, Jenny. Left, right, left. Had a girl, Romy. Nice work. Keep your mind to the job there, Tatum.
Jeremy, sounding good.
Lady Constable?
Senior Constable, and no, I don't.
Oh, that's a pity, because Roy's on the lookout for new blood.
Why? He's my boyfriend. It's Jeremy loves me.
Alone.
He's my boyfriend. Oh.
Hey, Romy, don't be silly. Hey!
Me! Jeremy loves me! Has he ever get with a slut like you? Yeah, we'll never get with you, you mole. Not in a million years.
That's enough for both of you.
Hey, girls! Get back in formation.
Come on, boss, you saw the way he was perving on my rack.
I'm not even sure I know what a rack is, Parish, but if it's what I suspect it is, then I think we can say that Jeremy Price likes his women mature.
So why were they fighting over it?
I don't know, a schoolgirl crush or something, probably.
Go with, get with? I mean, it sounded like a lot more than a crush to me.
On the strength of what? One really unseemly street brawl.
On the strength that we can't afford to ignore this. Jeremy's, what, 30? Those girls can't be anything more than 14.
Who's this, Jeremy?
The band's new MD.
Stands for Master of Debauchery.
Parish.
Guy's a lech, boss, trust me.
Dad, I'm so not interested in Mr. Price, okay? Tatum's got the hots for him, all right? And I was just stirring her. And then he smiled at me and not her, so she just went mental.
Can we leave now?
Romy, this isn't what you were saying earlier.
I was just joking. Duh.
No, not how it sounded.
Okay, we're out of here. Come on, Princess. I trust this is the last we'll hear of this.
I'm sleeping with him.
Sleeping with...
Jeremy. He's my lover. And he loves me, and he's going to leave his wife for me.
Tatum, I'm not putting up with this 1 second longer, do you?
Jeremy and me are doing it, Mum. That means I'm a woman like you, so stop talking down to me.
Times 509 to VKC, we're code 5 at our last.
Can I help you?
Mr. Price, we just need you to come down to the station to sort something out for us.
Just some matters arising from the incident with the 2 girls earlier.
Not sure what you mean.
We can always discuss it here.
Is there a problem?
Just some details need addressing. Here or at the station?
Jeremy?
Probably simper at the station, eh? Don't worry, love. Be back soon.
Nice to meet you, Mrs. Price.
Look, you must know how it is.
I'm not sure I follow you.
Teenage girls. Their hormones are kicking in. They're testing out their feminine wiles. It's part of their learning process.
Is sexual penetration part of that learning process?
The point my colleague is making here is that one of these girls has been sexually penetrated.
By you, she says, on a regular basis.
No.
She says you love her and you're going to leave your wife for her.
Leave my wife for a 14-year-old kid. You think that's remotely likely?
So you're denying the allegation?
Yeah, and I'm willing to sue if the allegations continue. They could ruin my marriage and career.
And if proven, send you to jail.
Look, I can't think of anything worse than an adult man being seduced into a situation like that.
An adult man being seduced by a 14-year-old child.
Well, you must remember what it was like to be a teenager. Playing the sex goddess. The seductress.
I was into Pony Club myself. Must have been a late developer.
He says, she says. We need hard evidence.
So let's hold him while we talk to the other girls, band officials, his wife.
I'm Robert Davies, leader of the Mount Thomas Band. I'm told you've got my musical director here.
We're holding him.
What, in custody?
Oh, he's just helping us with our inquiry, sir.
Well, we'll see about this.
Excuse me, sir, you can't just go in there. Sorry, Senior Sergeant, it is
It's
barged
all
in
right,
here.
Sergeant. Sit down, take a deep breath and tell me your problems, right? Would you like a cup of tea?
No, I would not like a cup of tea. I've got my band's musical director in custody, trying to wreck his life over allegations made by a couple of little nympho-tarts, if you'll pardon the expression.
Is that right?
Tom, you know what I'm saying. This is the sort of wild gossip-mongering that can tear down a century-old institution like the band. Just because some silly little girl gets hot pants for a music teacher.
Robert.
Jeremy Price is a happily married man. Why would he chase after schoolgirls?
I've seen happily married men chase after things you wouldn't believe. Not now, Parish.
Sorry, boss, this can't wait. Latest from the hospital about the girl making the allegation.
Senior Constable.
She has a sexually transmitted disease.
Now, Tom, I'm relying on you to allow common sense to prevail. We cannot let a great local institution go to the wall because of some silly teenage girl.
If someone's broken the law, they'll be dealt with, great institution or no great institution.
I had hoped for a little more understanding.
Robert, if your son had come to us with a similar accusation, you'd be wanting action.
My son? Well, that's hardly likely, is
Read
it?
the newspaper, why don't you? You were perilously close to crossing the line there, Parish. What's this about the girl having VD?
STD, boss.
Chlamydia.
Well, that can cause sterility, can't it?
And if Jeremy's got it, there's a good chance his wife's got it. Not to mention the young girl, Romy, if she's been lying to us.
We need to warn whoever's at risk.
Yes, I agree. Try and do that diplomatically, will you?
Mr. Price, we have a court order for you to undergo a forensic examination for a sexually transmitted disease, as in chlamydia. Mrs. Price, you should undergo a similar test.
Thank you, Senior Constable, but I'm not too worried.
Very diplomatic.
Not funny, PJ.
One more of the boss's great institutions bites the dust.
What have you been doing?
Marriage.
What is it you've been doing with yourself?
Nothing. Hey, Sus.
G'day. Where were you this morning when I left, anyway?
I was just outside, doing some work, listening to little birdies go tweet, tweet, tweet.
The only birds you've ever enjoyed have been on plates.
I was just doing some work, that's all.
I'm going to start following you.
Did I guessed?
Hey, Ben wants you guys to know Jeremy Price has chlamydia.
And she probably didn't get it home.
Yeah, and Tatum said he was her one and only, so he didn't get it off air.
Okay, we need to get a formal statement from Tatum that penetration has occurred, and we've got him.
One side at last.
Been cautious, never meant that I approved of child molesters. Let's nail him.
Nice bracelet.
Yeah,
Where'd you get that?
Romy let me borrow it.
I thought you two were fighting.
We made up.
Sorry about that. Shouldn't take long.
Now, Tatum, we previously interviewed you in regard to your music teacher, Jeremy Price. Now, do you agree that you told us that there was a sexual relationship between the two of you? Tatum? Was there?
No.
Tatum, you told us that penetration had taken place.
No, I didn't.
It's okay, nothing bad's going to happen to you.
But what about Mr. Price?
No, you don't have to worry about him. I promise you. We will never let him bother you again.
Well, I lied. Nothing happened between me and Mr. Price.
Tatum, the medical evidence suggests that you're not a virgin.
Well, I do gymnastics. The first time I did the splits, I bled a bit. It can happen. Or didn't you know that?
You also get chlamydia in gymnastics?
I've never had sex, and you can't prove different. And I never had it off with Jeremy. Never!
Someone got her to change her evidence.
Well, a small town, maybe her mother wanted to hush it up.
No, her mother seemed totally ready to fight to me.
Jeremy Price, or his wife, wanting to avoid public humiliation and save her marriage.
Robert Davies to protect the high and holy Mount Thomas band?
Well, the band is his whole life, so yes, he might.
Well, what about the other girl? I mean, have they gotten together on this?
Well, Tatum did say they'd made up, but...
You don't believe it?
Oh, she had this new bracelet. She said she borrowed it from Romy.
Romy, her best enemy?
Yeah, I kind of got the feeling she was lying, but I don't really know.
Well, that's something else you and Rayner can talk to her about.
What, something else?
We agreed to warn everybody at risk that Jeremy Price has an STD. I suspect that Romy is next cab off the rank.
I wonder how many more out there. That's what I'd like to know.
Well, maybe that's something we can ask Jeremy.
Oh, no, he's never going to admit it.
Well, he might. I mean, you'd have to know that with an STD, he's leaving a trail a mile wide. Maybe we can convince him that a confession's the lesser of two evils.
First commandment, libido-driven male's gospel for having a good time. Never admit to anything unless you get caught red-handed.
And if you are?
Second commandment, never tell the truth if a lie can get you out of it.
Just how many commandments are there in this gospel?
10. I know all of them.
He's got a bad back.
Yeah, well, have you ever known a copper not to be nursing an injury? I mean, they're like footy players. Always got a groin injury.
It's his groin that's beginning to worry me. There's the widow over the back.
What about her?
She keeps giving him buckets of fruit.
Is PJ selling his body for buckets of fruit?
Probably.
All right, let me see this. The widow comes to the back fence and says, "Hey, PJ, do you want a bucket of fruit and a quickie while we're at it?"
Well, she definitely likes him, you can tell.
Yeah, and then they're going at it on the back fence like a couple of cats. PJ falls off, puts his back out. It all makes sense.
Yeah, what am I talking about?
I said I'm so not having sex with Jeremy.
I know you said that, but sometimes people like to keep their private lives private.
I said before,
and if that's what you're doing, then have the test. Chlamydia can affect your chances of having children later.
Anyway, it's good that you and Tatum have made up. It's a nice gesture lending her that bracelet.
I lent that poxy slut a bracelet? In her dreams.
So we did a bit of window shopping, an identical bracelet in the jewellers for $400.
So is the bracelet that Tatum's wearing from the same shop?
A girl matching Tatum's description paid cash for one yesterday.
Where would she get that sort of cash?
Well, we spoke to her mum. Robert Davies dropped by yesterday afternoon to see if everything was all right.
Did he indeed?
Did he spend time with Tatum alone?
Yeah, a few minutes. He has to have paid her to retract her statement.
It's a big temptation, a girl that age.
And he would have told her it was best for all concerned, protecting a great institution.
What about the consequences for the girl? I mean, there's got to be damage.
Of course there has.
Hang on. I roadied for a band for 6 months, and I got to tell you, the jailbait wanted backstage passes.
What, and that makes it all right, does it?
No, but you're not going to change their mind, Joe.
Look, they're just supermarkets for child molesters. Bands, youth groups, churches... Father?
Joe? Can I have a word, Tom? Yes, of course. Come on in.
Poor old Mother Church copping it again.
Poor old Mother Church has got a few fences to mend, wouldn't you say?
Too often dealt with the sin and ignored the crime. Helped the abuser, not the victim. Nightmare. I've just come from seeing Robert Davies.
Oh, yeah?
I suggested that Jeremy Price step aside until the allegations of sexual abuse have been investigated.
And what did Robert say?
That would amount to an admission of guilt on Jeremy's part.
I wouldn't have thought that.
But then he said that it was all over anyway, that Tatum had withdrawn her allegation.
Oh, he said that, did he? Robert visited the O'Hara household late yesterday. Talked to Tatum and her mother. This morning, Tatum changed her story.
There's something very nasty going on, and that young girl's story could be just the beginning of it.
Story? That young girl may have been telling the truth before someone bribed her to say different.
Joe.
Yeah, no, I'm sick of that attitude. It takes a lot of guts for some of those kids to come forward and ask for our help. The least we can do is trust them. How many lives have been ruined by people in authority doing nothing or worse, covering things up? It's just wrong.
I agree, absolutely.
Well, then why are you here trying to get Robert Davies and Jeremy Price off the hook?
Perhaps you could walk me out, Tom. I believe Robert's capable of bribing Tatum.
Oh?
And I believe it because he's heard some rumours about my past. And he's now trying to use that knowledge to pressure me for support.
You don't say.
To me, the most terrifying thing our Lord ever said was we'd be judged by the same standards we use to judge other people. If Price is capable of using his position to abuse a young girl, then I'm in no position to judge him. This rumour Robert heard, it was a long time ago. I was in my first parish as a curate priest, little town near Ararat. I'd just spent 8 years in a seminary. Before that, I was a boarder in an all-boys school. So you can imagine how much I knew about women.
Just less than I did, I imagine.
Much less. So naturally, they gave me the youth group to deal with. The bolder girls in the group called me Father Waterwaste.
And because you were such a handsome brute at the time, there were crushes galore.
Most of them very easy to deal with. But then I fell in love with Maureen Flannery. 17 years old. Pretty as a picture. I just couldn't resist. Or hide it.
So what happened?
Well, nothing in the end. No, very nearly did. One word, one look. I couldn't have resisted. Her parents noticed. How could they not? They spoke to the bishop, who flicked past me to another parish at the other end of the state.
And the point of all this is...
that I'm in no position to judge Jeremy Price.
Hang on. I mean, the situation is totally different. He's alleged to be sleeping with a 14-year-old girl.
In my mind, mate, I was sleeping with Maureen Flannery on an hourly basis. So how can I judge Price? Or Robert?
You may not be able to judge their sins, but...
Putting Tom in the picture?
You could say that, yeah.
Good. Good.
As I was about to say, if the law's been broken, then I swore to do something about it.
So, would you like to tell us about the money you gave Tatum O'Hara to change her evidence?
You seriously imagine I'm the kind of person that would do that?
I wouldn't know, are you, sir?
That little trollop would say anything. First she says that Jeremy's been interfering with her, and now she's saying that I'm trying to bribe her.
Did you?
This is ridiculous. Tom, you and I both know there are no perfect people. Even recent visitors have had their little problems in the past.
Recent visitors?
Well, let's just say that Father Brian is in a good position to fully understand Jeremy's problems.
We're talking about the sexual assault of a child here, Mr. Davies.
And are you sure she wasn't more than willing?
Whether she was willing or not, she's still too young to give consent, and that makes it a crime. And someone who's interfered with a witness, bribed a victim, has also committed crime. Oh, you deal with it.
Sit. Now, you still haven't answered the question, sir. Did you bribe Tatum to change her story?
The whole notion is preposterous.
Tied himself in knots avoiding the question.
I'm an honest man. How dare you lie?
If the pair of them get away with this, I'll be inclined to take the law into my own hands.
I know, it's open slather for every child molester in the district. Abuse a kid and walk free for $400.
But the evidence has to come from Tatum herself. She was the one abused, she was the one who was paid off.
So talk to her again.
Diplomatically?
Be as unbloody diplomatic as you like, Parish, just get the truth.
I haven't been sexually abused.
Why do you say that?
Because I haven't.
Maybe it didn't feel like sexual abuse. Maybe it felt more like making love.
This is none of anyone else's business.
Yesterday you said you were sleeping with Jeremy Price.
I was lying. I was just big noting myself, okay? I didn't mean to get Jeremy into trouble.
Why's that?
Because Jeremy... he's the first person who's ever understood me.
Tatum?
It's true, Mum. He understands. He's got time for me. You've never got time for me, and he does.
I've got to work to support us. I've got a house to run, 4 kids to look after.
He takes time to listen. He knows how I feel.
So it'd be natural if you became very close to him.
So?
So if if you understood his needs the way he understands yours. If you gave him what he needed, it might feel like a very beautiful thing.
Detective, someone outside with a story you should hear.
Not now.
I think you better.
Excuse me.
Bobby Davies, Senior Detective Hasham.
Bobby Davies. So you'd be Robert Davies' son, right?
Yeah, I play bass drum in the band.
Okay, Bobby, can we do this fast? I'm in a bit of a hurry, okay?
I've come to own up to something.
Mm-hmm.
The bloke having sex with Tatum O'Hara, it's me. She was a virgin when we started. I'm the only one she's been doing it with.
So you met Tatum at school? In the band? How?
I used to watch her at school because she's such a spunk.
Mm.
Yeah, and, like, sometimes I'd catch her watching me.
Because you're such a spunk.
Oh. I don't know about that.
So you two were watching each other in school
And we sort of got closer at band practice.
Mm-hmm. And this led to a sexual relationship?
It's not just sex. We're serious.
Right, well, you say you're the only one. That means it was you who gave her chlamydia.
What's that?
He dared say I even touched him?
He made it sound, how can I put this, beautiful.
Is he still out there?
Possibly.
Are you satisfied with your treatment by the police here today?
Sure.
You can just sign here,
You,
please.
dog breath. How dare you say we're on together? Me and him. God, I wouldn't even wish him on that slut mole Romy Deeble.
Tatum, I was trying to get you out of trouble.
Do me a favour. I'd rather be dead than have people think I got with you. Okay?
So I guess if we were to ask you if you and Bobby were an item, the answer would be no.
Okay, all right, Tatum. You made your point. Just...
What do you want to know now?
Oh, am I that transparent? Well, I'll be right in thinking you've got cousins up Ararat way.
Cousins all over, mate. And in Ararat, yeah, on Mum's side.
Any Flannerys among them?
Egans, Fitzpatricks, Connors, but no Flannerys.
Any of this tribe ever say anything to you about Father Brian?
So at last he comes out with it. When I mentioned to one of my Connor aunties that Father Brian had come here, she gave me a look.
A look?
That's all my Auntie Eileen's ever needed.
What kind of a look?
Now, you watch yourself, girl. Look. For my money, Father Brian's as straight as a die. I've never seen or heard him do anything to justify that. Look, but that is the one she gave me, all right.
This Auntie Eileen, she'd know where all the bodies were buried.
She dug the graves with her own fair hands.
I'd like to make contact with a woman about 40. 25 years ago, she would have been a Maureen Flannery.
And you're a certain father, what a waste.
You're listening at keyholes now.
No, I just have the gift.
And I know you're not joking. This gift, does it give out phone numbers?
Are you people going to get off your backsides and do something about this?
Yeah, okay.
It was done while we were up at the police station. I mean, she's only 14, for God's sake.
Why are they doing this to me?
It is still fresh.
Look at what being in your precious band's done to my daughter.
Yes, well, that is precisely why I am here. I'm afraid a decision has been reached about Tatum probably not fitting in with the rest of the team.
You're going to drop her from the band.
The music ability is just not there, and there have been some instances of unpunctuality.
That's not fair. I'm good. Jeremy says so.
Just get out of here and take your weasel words with you.
All the equipment and the sheet music will have to be returned.
Get out of here.
Now, your son Bobby, do you know where he is?
He came home very upset after being with you people, and he's been home ever since.
I liked being in the band. And Jeremy says I'm good, and he knows.
Of course he does, because he cares about you, right?
He knows about music.
Good try, partner.
but his father alibied.
And Mrs. Davies as well.
So what does Bobby say himself?
Well, funny about that, he'd gone out by the time we arrived. They didn't know where.
Senior Sergeant Croydon. Oh, could you hold on, please? Have we finished?
Yeah.
And close the door.
Benny, Bobby Davies is probably running around with a paint spray can. Can you get someone to check it out for me?
Susie, Jonesy, you want to do that?
Yeah, shall we talk to Romy again?
We can't force her to take the test.
No. Tatum's run away. She wanted us to leave Mount Thomas and I said we couldn't do that. So she barricaded herself in her room and went out the window.
I'm sure she'll be all right, Mrs. O'Hara.
I've never seen her so upset.
Hey, that's okay. Look, we'll look for her straight away. Come here.
She's lost her best friend, she's lost the band, she's lost Jeremy.
Sure about that?
Well, I don't think he's going to elope with her, do you?
No, but yesterday she thought he would.
So she'd go round there, confront the wife?
Now, she's 14. Might make sense to her. Hey, it's worth a look.
What does the libido-driven male's gospel say a bloke should do when wife is confronted by underage girlfriend?
Plead guilty with a non-parole period of 20 years and hope to God that the wife dies of natural causes.
Must remember to tell the widow that.
Hey?
Mrs. Buckets of fruit over the back.
What about her?
I was worth a bad back just to enjoy a few homegrown cherries.
Are you suggesting that... Oh, Joe, I don't fancy her. My God, you know I'm nuts about you.
Can I have that in writing?
Anyway, her fruit is overripe.
Tatum?
Go away!
Tatum, your mum's worried about you.
Leave me alone!
Get her away from here.
Tatum, I think the owners of the property want you to leave.
Not the owners, it's just her. And I'm not moving till they talk to me.
I don't think they want to.
We've got to discuss this!
Go away.
It's not you I want to talk to!
Tatum, this isn't helping.
She won't let me in, and he won't come out. She's controlling him!
Hey, listen, I think he wants it to be over.
And what would you know?
I'm a man. I know what cowards we are.
Jeremy!
Tatum.
Jeremy!
Tatum.
Jeremy! Jeremy, I love you! I love you!
It's okay, it's all right. It's gonna be all right. How are you feeling?
Stupid.
Oh, we've all been stupid now and then. I have. Senior Detective Hasham has.
Speak for yourself.
It's not a question of being stupid, it's a question of what you do about it afterwards.
Yeah, I guess.
And honestly, what happened there was not you being stupid. It was you being treated very badly by someone you'd put your trust in. You want to tell us about it from the beginning?
He listened to me. And he said that when we were together, he felt like we were the only two people in the whole world. So when he told me about him and his wife not doing it anymore, and having separate rooms and everything...
Tatum, what have you been up to now? I've got this message about minor surgery.
Look, it's fine. Look, Tatum's fine. There's a broken window. There will be some surgery, but she's...
Show me. Where are you hurt?
No!
I have 3 other children to look after.
So go away and look after them.
Mrs. Hara, Tatum and I were just having a little chat. You were telling me about Jeremy.
Mrs. O'Hara, I came as quickly as I could. How is she?
Jesus, Mum, not the priest.
Well, you could have been dying for all I knew.
Well, I'm not.
Alive and kicking, as I'm very glad to see. But I know you've had some troubles lately, so if there's anything you'd like to tell me while I'm here, anything I can help you with.
Confess, you mean? So you can save my soul?
Tatum.
That's what he wants. That's what you all want. Well, maybe I don't want to be saved.
Look, we can't help you unless you...
Go away. I'm sick of all of you.
Maybe after surgery she'll be more forthcoming.
No, it's more than that. She's been betrayed by one authority figure. Now she's not game to trust anyone else. She's just starting to get her confidence, and then Father Brian came in. I could have throttled him.
Throttle away, Joe. Now's your chance. I've got your message at the hospital.
Ah, so what's the latest on the girl?
Just coming out of surgery when I left, but the prognosis was good.
Better than our case against Jeremy Price.
No, he's got himself a lawyer, refusing to talk.
We set these kids up for this, you know. We drum it into them from the day they're born. Obey your parents, teachers, the law, the church. Just do as you're told and don't ask questions. Leaves the field wide open for anyone who wants to abuse their power.
Come on, let's grab some Chinese on the way home. Night, gents.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
She's right, you know.
There's abuse and there are mistakes, Father.
What did you want to see me about, anyway?
Father, what a waste. Don't tell me you don't recognise me. That bring back any fond memories?
Still the same Maureen Flannery. And yes, we did kiss.
Just once. Mind you, I think I'd had more practice than he had. I like this lady. She knows a woman's needs. Your copper mate tracked me down through her.
And my Auntie Maeve.
Thought it was your Auntie Eileen.
Eileen put me onto Maeve and knew where she was.
I expect a full report. He says he wants me to set you right on a few matters. Always wondered why you left town in such a hurry without saying goodbye. He says my dad dobbed you to the bishop.
Your father was right to. I crossed the line.
Little bit, I suppose. You're very sweet. The only man who ever kissed me and thought the better of it. He said we were in a proximate occasion of mortal sin. You don't hear that from most men.
No, you don't.
What's happened to you since?
Oh, since you ruined my life, you mean? Oh, I took vows and now I'm a mother superior looking after fallen women like myself.
Come on, give the poor bloke a go.
I lost my virginity to a country policeman.
It wasn't me.
No? You do look strangely familiar. And then I married a soldier and after him a sailor, but that didn't work out.
What next? An airman?
Ambulance driver. Something about a man in uniform. You didn't ruin my life, Father. Fact is, I'd almost forgotten you until your friend rang me today. I've had a lot of sweet moments and you were one of them. No harm done.
I still crossed the line.
So you did. Human like the rest of us. Will you pray for me? I think over the years I might have been a naughty girl once or twice.
Well, that's graffiti number 8.
Someone's had a busy night. This is so cruel.
Well, it takes 2 to tango, and I don't see Jeremy's a slut anyway.
Well, it's like they've run out of paint.
Jonesy's number 1 law. Vandals, also litter.
Oh, that is perfect. You have got magical fingers.
No, I'm doing this one as a widow fruit bucket getting the benefit.
Don't, it hurts when I laugh.
Oh, I'm not even going to ask.
I think we deserve some major praise.
You got it.
Reckon Bobby was smart enough to wear gloves?
Bobby, gloves? I don't think so.
Right, before we begin, can I have your attention, please? There's a lot of nonsense going around at the moment, and none of you need worry your heads about it. Suffice to say that Jeremy Price will be back with us very, very soon. In the meantime, we have to practice so that he's proud of us on his return. Do you mind? We're rehearsing.
Just want to have a word with your boy. You want to show us your hands, mate? The other one. Does that look like red paint to you?
Well, it's not blood.
I was doing my bike.
What the hell is all this about?
We need Bobby to come down the station with us.
He's needed here for rehearsal.
Law comes first.
Well, I want to be there.
He's 17. It's not necessary.
I still want to be there. Carry on, you lot. Kevin, take over, will you?
Hi, Romy.
Be quiet,
No, I
Bobby.
told you that I'd get into trouble.
Hang on. Just sit down. Just sit down, please, sir. Your father knew about this, mate.
If you try to talk to him while I'm not here, you'll be in more trouble than you care to think about. Now, I want to see Tom Croydon, alone.
I'm sure he'll be delighted.
If my son is charged for this, then your mate, Father Brian, will be exposed for the child molester he is.
Father Brian is not and never has been a child molester. And if you say he was, he may very well sue you for defamation. As for your son, if we prove that he's behind this graffiti campaign, then he will go. And if you encouraged him, you will go too. And if I find out you've interfered with a witness, you'll be in more trouble than you've ever known. Now, get out of here. I'm sure Maureen Flannery would give evidence for you if you decide to sue for defamation.
We're supposed to forgive people like Robert.
So you'll just cop it sweet?
I'll tell the truth. But I was a young man tempted and the bishop transferred me.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of people around who want to believe his version.
Well, I'll have to forgive them as well. If my present bishop decides to ship me out, then it won't be the first time.
You're on the band committee, and Robert Davies is your chairman. Do you seriously think he's worthy of the position?
I don't know what to do about it.
Brian, people of our background persuasion, we've always taken a pretty fierce interest in party politics, from the church pew replacement fund to a cushy seat in Parliament. And well, if there's one thing we do know something about, it's how to swing a vote.
I'm not sure if I heard you right, Tom. Are you saying that I should swing the vote on the Mount Thomas band committee?
Well, if you must know, I put my back out exercising.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I mean, bloke's got to stay trim, right? He's got to stay fit.
Yeah, all metrosexuals are doing it.
Metro what?
Straight guys who keep themselves nice. Like David Beckham. You know, workouts, facials, manicures, nail polish.
Nail polish.
So when you go out before breakfast these days, you're...
Oh, it's like Susie says, it's a metrosexual keep fit program. It's sort of like aerobics, right? But you've got to flap your wrist to get your nail polish dry, so there's a sort of an upward downward motion which goes back and forth. Depends. You can do it this. Sorry.
You got anything better to do?
We're waiting for Tatum to wake up, hoping she'll talk.
Oh, well, don't hold your breath.
Now, Jeremy Price, he's not a metrosexual. He's taking more of the snag approach. You know, I understand, I'm sensitive to your needs.
Yeah, he sounds dodgy to me.
So, if he ran that line with Tatum, I bet you said the same thing to Romy.
I've got nothing to say to you or her.
Well, maybe she's got something to say to you. Like what? About how Jeremy really listened to her. About how when they were together, it felt like they were the only two people in the whole world.
Yeah, and how he and his wife had separate rooms. He never said that. He wouldn't.
He did.
I thought I was special. So did I. Now he's come between us, and now the doctors are saying I mightn't be able to have babies. No! You get yourself checked, okay?
Yeah. There's something else you can both do. Jeremy Price is a predator. To stop him, we need evidence. This time, no going back on it.
I'm stupid. Mr. Davies came around and started talking about the band, and then he gave me money. $500. I've never seen so much money. I will if you will. Yeah.
Well, you'll be charged with 2 counts of sexual penetration of a child.
The law's ridiculous. They were the ones that made the running. They came on to me.
If they did, which I doubt, but if, it's up to you as the adult to say no. It's not exactly rocket science. Doesn't matter what kids might suggest, it's up to you to say no.
When is this persecution going to end?
Not yet.
You've arrested my son, you've arrested my musical director. Just what else do you intend?
To arrest you. It's some of the money you gave to Tatum O'Hara. We've got enough for interfere with witness, attempt to pervert the course of justice.
You realise what you're doing, don't you?
Oh, yes.
You and that priest. You're destroying the band.
You're worried about destroying the band. What about destroying people's lives? Charge him.
Oh, Dave is under arrest for interfering with a witness and attempting to pervert the course of justice.
Joe got home? About half an hour ago, why? Good.
Well, getting them off the street will put a dent in the crime figures.
You got my sushi in there.
Goldfish?
A breeding pair. Guaranteed by Mount Thomas Pets and Bombs. Think the splashing of tiny fins.
So, by the time Robert Davies arrived here screaming persecution, he'd already been deposed as chairman of the band committee.
I took your advice. Got the numbers, organised the committee meeting, swung the vote. Had to be done.
To protect a great institution.
Because it was right. Is he in a great deal of trouble?
Oh, yes, a great deal.
Yeah. Anything I can do?
What are you thinking of? A character reference?
Not that, no.
The family could probably use some help down the track.
Oh, my God!
All right, I've been working on all week. I'm scared you're going to find it.
Oh, what? And this is how you did your back?
Well, it wasn't from doing Miss Fruit Buckets, that's for sure.
I never really thought that. Oh, wow!
Ta-da! You want to do the honours?
Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that. Huh. No. Yeah, I've heard they have to get used to that water temperature.
Yeah, well, can't we just let him go? I mean, let him start breathing.
Maybe later. Sorry,
Ah, listen to that. 100 years of tradition.
So you found this band, did you, boss?
I said 100 years, Parish. Well, my great-grandfather was in it, played bass drum.
What did you do?
Look at that. Teamwork, discipline.
Come on, everybody, keep it together. Put your feet there, Jenny. Left, right, left. Had a girl, Romy. Nice work. Keep your mind to the job there, Tatum.
Jeremy, sounding good.
Lady, Constable?
Senior Constable, and no, I don't.
Oh, that's a pity, because Roy's on the lookout for new blood.
Why? He's my boyfriend. It's Jeremy loves me.
Alone.
He's my boyfriend. Oh.
Hey, Romy, don't be silly. Hey!
Me! Jeremy loves me! As if he'd ever get with a slut like you! Yeah, we'll never get with you, you mole! Not in a million years!
That's enough for both of you! Girls!
Get back in formation.
Come on, boss. You saw the way he was perving on my rack.
I'm not even sure I know what a rack is, Parish, but if it's what I suspect it is, then I think we can say that Jeremy Price likes his women mature.
So why were they fighting over him?
I don't know, a schoolgirl crush or something, probably.
Go with, get with? I mean, it sounded like a lot more than a crush to me.
On the strength of what? One really unseemly street brawl.
On the strength that we can't afford to ignore this. Jeremy's, what, 30? Those girls can't be anything more than 14.
Who's this, Jeremy?
The band's new MD.
Stands for Master of Debauchery.
Parish.
The guy's a lech, boss. Trust me.
Dad, I'm so not interested in Mr. Price, okay? Tatum's got the hots for him, all right? And I was just stirring her. And then he smiled at me and not her, so she just went mental.
Can we leave now?
Romy, this isn't what you were saying earlier.
I was just joking. Duh.
No, not how it sounded.
Okay, we're out of here. Come on, Princess. I trust this is the last we'll hear of this.
I'm sleeping with him.
Sleeping with...
Jeremy. He's my lover. And he loves me, and he's going to leave his wife for me.
Tatum, I'm not putting up with this 1 second longer, do you?
Jeremy and me are doing it, Mum. That means I'm a woman like you, so stop talking down to me.
Mentos 509 to VKC, we're code 5 at our last.
Can I help you?
Mr. Price, we just need you to come down to the station to sort something out for us.
Just some matters arising from the incident with the 2 girls earlier.
Not sure what you mean.
We can always discuss it here. Is there a problem? Just some details need addressing. Here or at the station? Jeremy?
Probably simper at the station, eh? Don't worry, love. Be back soon.
Nice to meet you, Mrs. Price.
Look, you must know how it is.
I'm not sure I follow you.
Teenage girls. Their hormones are kicking in, they're testing out their feminine wiles. It's part of their learning process.
Is sexual penetration part of that learning process?
The point my colleague is making here is that one of these girls has been sexually penetrated.
By you, she says, on a regular basis.
No.
She says you love her and you're going to leave your wife for her.
Leave my wife for a 14-year-old kid. You think that's remotely likely?
So you're denying the allegation?
Yeah, and I'm willing to sue if the allegations continue. They could ruin my marriage.